staring into nature. I know I did a couple of videos about staring into nature, and so there is a logical explanation I have how this works and how staring into nature works in different forms. So in my different videos, I might have explained it in a different way, but this might help some people to understand how it actually works. And when I say there's a particular way to look at nature, there is actually a particular way to look at nature. So when you stare into nature for more than a period of time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, so there is nothing for the brain to grasp in, because every time you see something, your brain automatically starts to judge it and start to say things, start to define it, start to identify it, start to actually see what it is, what's the purpose of that. Even per se, if you look at the background behind me, or like even if you look at the chain, when you look at this one, you were thinking like, oh, is this for meditation, or like, is this rudraksha, is it doing some. So it's like thoughts can be generated by this single object, right? Even with this hat, you can have thousands of thoughts that brain consumes when you actually look into this one, when you look into an object. So when you actually stare into the sky, or when you actually stare into the nature, what happens is after 15 minutes, 20 minutes of staring, there's nothing that you can observe. If you actually can focus a little bit in your ears, and if you're in the present moment, there's nothing that the brain can capture in. But even during that time, your brain will be in the past or future, thinking about the office work, thinking about problems in your house, or like thinking about all that stuff. That's why you're not able to understand when I say staring into nature. So when I say staring into nature, you have to be a little bit in the moment into the sky. And when you stare at the sky, there's nothing that the brain can consume. And every time you've been consuming something, and out of nowhere, the brain doesn't consume anything, and initially you get confused. That's why you cannot stare too much into the nature. And so the brain kind of gets into a state, what are you doing? Because every time you've been making it to consume something, and suddenly out of nowhere, you are making it not to consume anything. And actually it will free you up, it will free your head, it will free your mind, it will relax you so much. And actually, if you can do that constantly, you can go to a high elevated state, because your brain is free, of thoughts, and it's kind of emptying it out, because you've been putting so much pressure into your brain, observing things and capturing things, creating thoughts, putting so much pressure into your brain. But by just staring into the nature, and by making the brain not to absorb anything, it can take you to a high elevated state. And actually that's a meditation. And the more you do it, the more you stare into nature, the more chances are that you're going to get enlightened. Because the mind becomes no mind at certain state, or you will be able to pass the thoughts so quick, you wouldn't even understand if there is any thought. And if you can do that repeatedly, like if you increase it every day by 15 minutes, half an hour, but you need to have time for that. So you need to put some effort, that you need to consider some time to actually look into the nature. And as you practice more, there will be a time where you have there will be a stage in your life where you just realize, or where you become just old, and then you understand, then you can stare into the nature for hours and hours. And then I bet you, if you can stare into nature for hours and hours in a meditative state, you get enlightened. Because you are totally in a bliss state. And the more you do it, the more bliss state you are in, and you can get enlightened. Because if you can stare into the nature consciously for an hour, look at your energy levels, look at the state that you are in, look at how energetic you will be. It's unbelievable. That's nothing but a touch towards enlightenment, a touch towards that bliss state. But we cannot be in that state for like all the time. That's the problem. And once you get enlightened, you are in that state for all the time. Bliss state. So in today's video, what I want to say is stare into the nature, be a little bit present. And what happens is the brain doesn't consume anything. And it will free up your brain. It will free up your thoughts. It will relax you. And you get into high elevated state, or your conscious level will go up. Thank you and namaste.